Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Sun Devil Extra, the show that recaps the week that was and is in Arizona State Sun Devil athletics. I'm Tim Healey, the radio play-by-play voice of the Sun Devils, filling in this week for your host Braiden Bell. ASU Athletic Director Graham Rossini unable to be with us. He is out of town, but we are delighted to welcome in Arizona State Deputy Athletic Director Lisa Young as my co-host. We got good bench depth on our hosting squad here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you aboard. The focus of our show today will be the 7-time national champion Sun Devil Women's Triathlon program. And joining us later in the show will be 7-time national champion head coach Cliff English and one of his newest student athletes as transfer Alex Campbell will drop by for a visit as well. Of course, the highlight of this past weekend in Sun Devil sports was a rock-solid performance by the Sun Devil football team this past Saturday night in a 34-15 win over Texas State at Mountain America Stadium. And Lisa, it really was good to see Kenny Dillingham's team bounce back after that disappointing loss on the road in the last minute to Mississippi State the week prior.
Yes, that was a heartbreaker. I think if we weren't there in person, we were all locked to the TV watching it. And certainly, you know, we want to see them with a hot start, but I think they're showing that this is a team with a lot of depth and a lot of energy, and I think last week proved that. So it was absolutely exhilarating, I think, from start to finish for the most part.
There were some great performances in that game on Saturday. Quarterback Sam Levitt threw for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns and rushed for 59 yards and another score. Jordan Tyson, 6 receptions, 105 yards, and a highlight reel touchdown catch from Sam Levitt in the second quarter of that game. Running back Rayleek Brown, 144 rushing yards, including a 75-yard touchdown. The ASU defense was superb, 10 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, a couple of forced fumbles, and Sun Devil linebacker Jordan Crook was named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week for his play against Texas State. But just as exciting, another solid performance I thought was from the fans.
Yes.
As for the second consecutive week, or for the second consecutive home game, Arizona State had a sellout at Mountain America Stadium on Saturday night.
Yeah, back-to-back sellouts. It's the way we really want to be starting the year before we've even entered into conference play. I think the fact now that we've had 8 wins at home, I think that's the most. I was checking this morning, the most since the 12-14 season. So I think it's just a testament to the energy and the excitement that this fan base has, and the fact that the fan base is across the valley, right? It's our students, it's our loyal fans, but it's new members of the community who maybe even didn't attend ASU but are just loving this hometown team. So it's a delight. And as an alumni, and you know, as you've seen this for so many years, I think there's no better feeling than to see that energy and excitement and support for the team.
And how encouraging it is to see it in the non-conference, because now we're going to start Big 12 play, and when you get Big 12 opponents in, those are games that are going to be super important and should generate even more fan interest, I would think.
Yes, I love that. And you know, these are champagne problems that we're talking about. We convene many times a week of everybody who touches, you know, the entire experience, whether it's concessions, whether it's ticketing, whether it's you know, anything to ensure that our fans have the best possible experience. But, you know, when you're talking about making sure the lines don't get too long, or how do we make sure we're managing crowd control, these are good problems to have, which means we have a lot of demand and we're managing the supply accordingly. So that is music to our ears, and we know Coach and the team just absolutely thrive off that. So we feel it's our responsibility to make sure that everything that's happening in and around the team is absolutely in support of our team.
What has the feedback been so far from the fan experience in the stadium at these first 2 home games?
Incredibly positive overall. You know, we started a new partnership with a new concessionaire, Aramark, who has had the broader ASU relationship for many years. And we've really been working to heighten the overall fan experience. So whether you're in the upper bowl or you're in a premium space, we've really wanted to have those touch points to all of our fans. Being inclusive like ASU is, it doesn't matter if your ticket was the lowest one or the highest one. We want to make sure that everybody's feeling the love and all of those different touches that we're focusing on. But we're focusing on how do you get in, how do you leave, what's that overall experience from a tailgate perspective, do we have the right merch available? So all of these things to make sure we're keeping our fans happy are things that we're hyper-focused on.
And I think sometimes fans may lose sight of the fact that when they come to football games to support the football team, they're also helping support all the teams at Arizona State.
Absolutely. We know that revenue is driven largely through football. We appreciate the demand for that and the interest in that, and I think it's a known thing that our Olympic sports are incredibly important to the whole portfolio of Sun Devil Athletics and ASU, and Graham has spoken about that, President Crow has spoken about that, but football sort of encapsulates us in such an important way, and I think they know that, and there's a sense of responsibility to that, but I think when you can gather the community in a way that this stadium does, it's a testament to how important football is to ASU and the community.
And the games get really important starting this week as Big 12 conference play begins when the Sun Devils head to Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears this coming Saturday. It'll be ASU's first football matchup against Baylor since 1990. And how long have I been around? I actually broadcast that game on television in 1990, a 34-13 Sun Devil win. Baylor features two of the nation's most explosive offensive players this year in quarterback Sawyer Robertson, who in 3 games has already thrown for over 1,000 yards, ranking second in the FBS in passing yards, and running back Bryson Washington, who leads the Big 12 in rushing with over 300 yards on the ground, the number 2 rusher in the league, by the way. Sun Devil running back Rayleigh Brown coming off his terrific game the other night. He's got 292 yards and is averaging over 8 yards per carry. And coming off their Big 12 championship, I think it's really gratifying, isn't it, to see ASU football the topic of so much conversation and so much media coverage on so many different platforms in the Valley.
We love it, and we love that people want to talk about ASU football, and they like to compete with us now. The Baylor community is excited to host us. They're excited to have us. This is, I think, 2 of 5 Texas teams that we're going to be playing here, lining up. So it's just fun to be in the state of Texas where we enroll so many individuals, but also an important state from the conference that we're in. So it's exciting to be on the map. I think the team feels that when we had such a run last year that was unexpected. There's more expectations and more comes with that. But I think it brings a new perspective to our team, and I think it also reminds all of this that we are winners. We are in the driver's seat. We act like we're in the driver's seat, and that is just a cool new energy. I think you also feel that in the stadium too, that there's an energy there that comes with it.
That's a great point you made, though, about the Texas to Tempe connection that Coach Dillingham and his coaching staff have done in recruiting, getting so many Texas kids to come to play for Arizona State. But after this game, we played Texas State last week, Baylor this week. Next week, host TCU, and October home games with Texas Tech and Houston. A great chance to get the ASU football product in front of the eyes and ears of young men in the state of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fun. It's acclimating our fan base to a new conference, year 2 in a conference. And again, I think it just gives us incredibly new, expansive opportunities to have ASU football on a national scale.
The Sun Devil Baylor game will take place in Waco, Texas this Saturday. Kickoff time is 4:30 Arizona time. Our coverage on the Sun Devil Radio Network will begin at 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon with the Sun Devil Tailgate Show hosted by Jeff Munn and Kevin Turner. And then former Rose Bowl MVP Jeff Van Raphorst will join KT and me for the play-by-play at 4:30 this coming Saturday, and we hope that you'll make plans to join us. For the 7th time in its program history, Arizona State will host the Women's Collegiate Triathlon National Championship this coming November. And coming up, we will visit the man who has built a triathlon dynasty here at Arizona State, as Sun Devil head coach Cliff English will join us. But first, these messages. This is Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. Welcome back to Sun Devil Extra. I'm Tim Healey, filling in for Braiden Bell this week. In the short time that it has been in existence, less than a decade, the Sun Devil Women's Triathlon program has become a dominant powerhouse in the sport, bringing home this trophy 7 times, 7 national championships, and 1 runner-up finish in the 8 years in which the championship has been contested. Joining us this week on the show is the man who is the architect of the women's triathlon program at Arizona State, our good friend, head coach Cliff English. Good to see you, Cliff. How you been?
I've been great. Good to see you as well, Tim. Thanks for having me.
When you first took this job, did you have visions that the success that you've had would come as quickly as it did?
I know I should be more humble than that, but yes, I did. I mean, you know, I'd been a long-time coach, been a 4-time Olympic coach, multiple world champions. I'm a pretty solid coach, and I know there's other great coaches out there, but I've always had a lot of self-belief in what I can do, and that had been because I've done it before, right? Mm-hmm. So I, definitely knew I was coming in here to start something, and I always intend every time when I do start something to make it special. And I guess in the first year, the first win, that might have, we kind of squeaked by with that one, and then after that, we really got even stronger. Yeah. So. Like I said, I always, and it's kind of funny because that's actually a little out of character for me. I do really believe in being humble, but at the same time, I had no intention of coming in and going average. Mm-hmm. I wanted to raise the bar and take this to the next level, make everyone chase us, which they did, and I pretty much like to think that we really built this and then have brought it up to a level where people have chased and now have started to beat us, which is a good thing. Yeah. I think it's really important. You got to have that competition. Sure. And set the bar high, and now it's really high. So I guess to a certain degree, kind of created that monster as well. But it's a good thing.
As you sit back and look at the totality of your time here, what would you say have been the main factors in your program's success?
I would definitely say, from our institution, just the incredible support that we've had here. Obviously starting with Ray Anderson, who hired me in the beginning, to have that vision to want to take the risk with, an emerging sport, and give us that opportunity to run with it, right? So I think sometimes you have to have that environment that is open to that, and I think Graham has continued that on, and it continues to give us incredible support. So I think at the base level, you have that platform to build off of, and then you just take it and run with it. So we've been, great facilities. I think, having lived in Arizona for over 20 years, I love Arizona. I think it's probably one of the best places in the world to train for our sport. So that doesn't hurt either. Mm-hmm. Sure, we're not California, but at the same time, I think our training is just unparalleled. And, constant sun, we have great facilities. So I think as it's gotten more competitive, that still gives us that edge because a lot of people want to come here because it's that desirable. And I think also, it's quite fitting when you think about the 2 best teams in the country. They're actually both from Arizona. Mm-hmm. So I think it says a lot for what we do here with our sport in this state.
Well, the objective of all that training is to bring home that hardware there.
Exactly.
And you did it the first 7 years in which the championship was competed. Last year, you finished runner-up to the arch rivals from Tucson. How big a motivating factor is that for your team as you start going through this season?
Oh, it's been great, because I would definitely say we've never, within myself and also with the team, complacency and sitting at the top has never been ever in our DNA. It's always been, okay, on to the next year, let's do even better, let's go even bigger. And not that we needed that to light a fire, but it certainly did. The fire's always been there, but I know the team literally, like right after that race and the very next day, my team captains were like, we're going to get it next year. And that seems to be the whole theme through the summer. And even now, I always have check-ins after every competition, and every single one of the team, including our team captains and our defending champion, Naomi Ruff, she's like, we're taking it back this year. So I think that's fantastic, and they're that competitive, and, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a great battle.
Yeah, I've always heard that, coaches say in all sports through the years, it's tough to win championships. It's tougher to repeat championships. So what you've been able to establish in your program is really remarkable in that context.
Thank you. No, I would agree. I concur. It's all my years of coaching, like you said, you can go in, you can have a world champion or an Olympic champion and then do it again, and that's the hardest, and not to say it's easy to do it the first time, but repeat and repeat and repeat. But, we've been able to be so consistent and keep that a big part of the team culture. I love how Graham, introduces us sometimes going, hey, well, if the worst thing they've done has been runner-up, that's pretty good, and I'm still very proud of that. It was still a very tight race, and the women were incredible and fought so hard. So that consistency is something that we still have, and I think it's just all about just recruiting well and keeping up that really positive team culture and team environment.
Well, let's talk about this 2025 team, which is coming off its first event victory of the 25 season, winning or placing first last week at the Desert's Edge Collegiate Cup in Loma, Colorado, in the far western portion of Colorado. How'd you evaluate your team's performance last weekend?
Really good. And that's the thing with every performance, you're still, going to have some incredible performances and then some people that, maybe it didn't all come together, but, and I think the same thing happened for U of A as well. But once again, we kind of have gone back to that depth. We've always had really good depth on the team and we needed that, their top kid, Kelly Wetland, who was going to be, probably Naomi's chief rival. They were 1-2 last year with Naomi taking the crown at Nationals, and that's how it goes with great champions. Usually they go back and forth with the wins, and but we went second, third, and fourth, which is huge. We need that, and we know, and everyone on the team knows that's how we're going to win Nationals again. To just have that consistency. We also had our fourth place score was 10th, so to have 4 in the top 10, that's how you get it done. And we'll just very happy with the team. Some of these competitions are interesting. We had altitude. We had a big storm that came through the day before that dropped the temperature down. I think all week they've been sitting on low 80s as a high and low 60s as a low, and we were treated to, I think, a low of 44, and so when you're racing at 7:30 a.m. and the sun's just popping out and you're looking at that water, and I'm happy I'm coaching, let's just say, I'm not swimming, but no, it's the same for everyone. That's one thing you always got to remember, but they're just, it's just great to see that how resilient they are, and being able to handle anything that's thrown their way, and it was a great battle, and it was it was one of those competitions where what we call an out and back course on the runs that go all the way out to the halfway mark of that 3.1 mile, the 5K, and standing up there kind of, waiting to see. And then when I saw, obviously the U of A in first, but then that second, third, fourth in a line of our 3 girls, and I knew we had a really great shot at taking it. So it was really nice to get that win again.
Cliff mentioned Naomi Ruff. She was the individual national champion last year, and clearly the leader of this team. What a great example she must set for your other athletes.
Oh, it's just incredible. Yeah, and she just absolutely, loves the team, loves the sport, such a positive, person and such an incredible athlete. We're also coming off some pretty, just in the 3.5 weeks that, the fall season's been going. In some of the outside competition, both Naomi Ruff and Sid Clement, as well as Zoe Adam, were down at the Junior Pan Ams in Paraguay, and Naomi Ruff was able to bring home the gold medal for the U.S., and Sydney brought home the silver for Canada. And also Alex, a transfer student athlete that we have on the team, just won her national championship back home September 7th, and we had another transfer that also got third in the under 23. So yeah, just really strong competitions, and always with this team, we try to overachieve, I guess is the best way to put it. We do have world champs that are coming up in Wollongong, Australia, and that's going to be on October 16th for under 23s. And last year Naomi was the top American finisher with 11th place, and I know she's got a really big goal of really trying to aim for that podium, that top 5, and even higher on a podium. So we're looking forward to that, and lots of stuff going on for the team.
By the way, later in the show we will visit with Alex Campbell, the newest member of the triathlon program, transfer from the University of Denver. Cliff, I can't wait till this weekend. We're going to get the first installment of the Duel in the Desert triathlon style. It is a straight heads-up match, ASU and the U of A in Tucson, bright and early, 7 a.m. Saturday morning. That's going to be something.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. And what's kind of nice too, talking with the head coach, Wes Anderson down there, and we're going to do a little team lunch with both teams afterwards. So, obviously fierce rivalry and competition, but definitely, just really make sure we're all good friends and just enjoying each other's company after. Good sportsmanship.
And I think that has really been prevalent in your sport, because I remember a few years ago when you used to come on the show with me and we chatted, it was almost like U of A adding triathlon helped elevate the sport, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just really nice to have a really healthy rivalry. And, it's one of those things, having, been a longtime hockey fan, I just love playoff hockey in the sense that they are so fierce on the rink during the game, and as soon as that is over, they line up for the handshakes.
Stanley Cup handshakes are still the greatest gesture of sportsmanship, I think, in world sports.
Yeah,
really.
I would agree. I love that, and I think it's something that I guess, just as having been a longtime hockey fan, I always think it's really important to have. In defeat, you got to shake. In winning, you got to shake and be humble, and I think that's super important.
Oh, absolutely. Now, after the U of A meet, next on the agenda will be the East Regional Qualifier in Troutman, North Carolina, coming up in the latter part of October 25th. Interesting, in years past, you've competed in the West Regional. Is there a particular reason why you're in the East Regional this year?
It's well, I guess that would be the reason with us finishing second. They circle seed the top 6 teams, so first goes West, second goes East, third West. So I guess that's motivation to win again, so we can stay West.
There you go. All the motivation you can get, right?
Exactly.
And then mark the date of Saturday, November 8th on your Sun Devil sports calendars. On that day, for the 7th time in the last 9 years, Arizona State will host the 2025 Women's Collegiate Triathlon National Championships out at Tempe Town Lake. It's always been a great honor for the school and for your program to do this. Talk about that. And it doesn't hurt either. I think you've won every one of the championships that have been contested here in Tempe.
We certainly have. No, it's just incredible to be able to compete in our backyard. I mean, the Valley has just been so supportive of the sport. It's in the same venue that Ironman's been there for, I believe it's almost 20 years or something. So just a great venue, and a real privilege to be able to do that here in our backyard. And I think we always hear incredible feedback about the quality of the race, how tough it is, how challenging it is, and I think that's very fitting for a national championship. So we're always happy to be out here doing that here, like I said, in our backyard.
Clearly, I think you believe your team this year has national championship potential as well, yes?
Yes, definitely. We really believe in it. The team's fired up for it. And like I said, we're very aware of the battle that we're going to have on our hands, but we're going to do everything we can to be ready for it. And we just hope to see a lot of people come out to help support. We do need volunteers, so if people are interested, you can find all that information on our website as well. And we also have an amateur race, an open competition that'll be in the morning, and should be same challenging course. You can come down and see if how you stack up against the best women in the country.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, right.
Do you happen to know where in Tucson the competition will be this Saturday?
Yeah, it's actually going to be a pool triathlon. So they'll be doing it at Hildebrand, which I know our swim team competes at, and then we're looking at a very technical course with lots of little 180s that's going to be right on their promenade and in front of their basketball stadium, and then running on the same course as well. And so they do a very short version of the triathlon that we call a super sprint, and it's going to start with prelims in early morning, and then mid-morning it's going to be finals. Yeah. And then we're going to do some fun relays after. So nice, fun day of competition, and for the team, that kind of marks the end of our kind of regular season. It's just over so quickly. Yeah. And we're going to stay down for an extra day and do a little team bonding down there, and do a nice long ride the next morning as a team, and then get ready for our championship segment right after that.
So it's the U of A this weekend, and then of course Nationals hosted by Arizona State in November. Lots of exciting things happening in Sun Devil Women's Triathlon. Always great to chop it up with you, Cliff. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sun Devil head coach Cliff English, our guest here on this segment of Sun Devil Extra. Coming up, we will talk to one of the newest student athletes in Coach English's triathlon program, as Alex Campbell will join us shortly. This is Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. We continue now with this week's installment of Sun Devil Extra. I'm Tim Healey, filling in for your host, Braiden Bell. Glad you're with us this week. In our previous segment, we visited with Sun Devil head women's triathlon coach Cliff English, the 7-time national championship coach of the Arizona State program. And now we get a chance to visit with one of Cliff's athletes on his 2025 team. She's a newcomer to the ASU program who transferred in from the University of Denver. We're happy to welcome junior Alex Campbell to Arizona State and to Sun Devil Extra. How you doing, Alex?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Go back a little bit. What led you to transfer after 2 years at Denver, and what made Arizona State your eventual destination?
Yeah, I think nothing compares to the program and the support at this school. Coach Cliff and Coach Tamara just set the standard so high for the positivity at practice and the just level of training. The whole team is so committed to all their goals. Everybody shows up and wants to work hard, and it's just been a great first few weeks here.
What has it been like coming into a program that has really set the bar really high, achieving great success over the last decade?
It's just been incredible. Everyone from day one was so welcoming, and I think I just want to match their drive for success and be hopefully a part of the success this year.
What were some of the things that struck you about the culture of Cliff's program?
I find the biggest thing I notice is that you can't tell if someone's having a good day or a bad day during practice. It's just positivity all practice long, and that's just something you can't always find, and it's just incredible when you do.
Now, you bring some outstanding credentials with you to Arizona State. You won your under 23 age group at the Canadian National Championships. That must have given you a nice jolt of confidence to bring into this fall, huh?
Yeah, it was a great race. It was nice to go back home for a weekend. We're in the middle of a big racing block and raced the last 3 weekends, and we're headed down to school down south next weekend for finish out this little racing block. So that was just a great kind of result in the middle of it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Triathlon's big territorial cup match with the U of A this coming Saturday in Tucson, but it didn't take Alex long for her to establish herself in this program. She was the Sun Devils' top finisher in the first event of the year, placing second at the Southern Hills Super Sprint in South Dakota on August 30th. The team finished third in that event. What is a super sprint event like?
Right, so a super sprint is about half the distance that we'd normally race. So it's a 300, 400 meter swim, a 10K bike, and a 2.5 kilometer run. It's much more intense, it's much more painful in some ways, but it's not quite as long, so you can take your pick. And yeah, it was a cold day. Most of our team was there, and it was a lot of fun just to start the season and bust the rest of it, is how we call it.
How did it make you feel to produce and be the team's top finisher in your very first event as a Sun Devil?
It was a lot of fun. I've been lucky to be training with Cliff in the weeks leading up and just love his training plan, and so it was nice to see it pay off.
Yeah, for sure. What was your evaluation of the team's performance this past weekend as the Sun Devils took part in the Desert's Edge? They won, actually, the Desert's Edge Collegiate Cup competition up in the state of Colorado over the weekend, and you finished fourth individually.
I think it was a great race for us all. It was pretty cold to start. It was 7 degrees Celsius, or I think that's what, 45 Fahrenheit for
Something
more
like
of our
that.
listeners.
Yeah.
And I think everyone did just such a great job of being resilient through that, helped each other out on the bike, and left it all out there on the run. And you know, it's always nice for the team to walk away with a win.
The weather really, Cliff had told us in the previous segment, really turned cold, and that must test your mental toughness as you're about ready to get into the water for your swim.
Absolutely.
Huh?
I personally love it when things start to go a bit wrong, I guess, before the start of the race. I think just that added pressure is almost, you can benefit from it a lot.
Wow. Now, one of your teammates is the defending national champion, individual national champion, Sun Devil Naomi Ruff. What kind of things have you learned from her or pick up from being around her on a day-to-day basis?
I think she's, again, one of our captains this year, and she's just the epitome of great leadership on the team. She's, again, adds to that positive culture, and shows up to work hard every single day, and I think everyone can learn a lot from that.
Tell us about some of your other teammates on this team. There are several Canadians on the team as well.
Yeah, it's great to be a part of a team with so many people from different countries around the world. That's always very cool. Nice to have a couple Canadians alongside me to travel with back to Canadian Nationals. And yeah, it's always very cool to have girls from all around Europe as well, and just have a mixed culture on the team.
Well, as Alex referenced, this week she's going to get her first taste of the ASU U of A rivalry when the Sun Devils and the Wildcats staged Triathlon's version of the Duel in the Desert, 7 a.m. this Saturday morning down in Tucson. Give us a sense of what you expect the competition to be like, and what have you heard from your teammates and from your fellow students about the ASU U of A rivalry?
It's going to be fast, it's going to be hard. It's a bit of a strange setup with 3 different races that are all different short distances. So yeah, it's going to be something new for everyone, and I think our team's ready to compete and compete hard. The U of A team has a lot of great girls in that team, and so it's going to be really fun to see where we line up.
Indeed. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You come from Kingston, Ontario, right? What are your plans? What do you intend to major in at ASU, and what would you like to do post-college?
Yeah, I'm majoring in political science with a minor in economics. I actually switched from a major in biology and a minor in chemistry at the University of Denver,
Wow.
so very new, very different. But I'm planning on going to law school after my undergrad, and so this is just the right track for me right now.
That's awesome. What is your sense about this team? Does this team have national championship potential in your mind's eye?
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't put it any other way. I think everyone has that huge goal in their mind throughout this season and is putting in the work to make it happen.
Well, we really appreciate your taking time to join us on the show this week, and wish you all the best in your years here at Arizona State, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
That's Sun Devil triathlete Alex Campbell, our guest on this segment of Sun Devil Extra. ASU Deputy Athletic Director Lisa Young will rejoin me for the final segment of this week's show in a moment. This is Sun Devil Extra, coming your way from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. We're heading down the home stretch of this week's installment of Sun Devil Extra from the Mountain America Credit Union Sun Devil Radio Network. I'm Tim Healey, filling in for Braiden Bell this week as your host. Glad you joined us. Sun Devil Deputy Athletic Director Lisa Young joining us as our co-host today. We just heard from ASU Triathlon coach Cliff English and student athlete Alex Campbell. What an honor that will be when Arizona State gets to host the Women's Collegiate Triathlon National Championships on November 8th, the 7th time that ASU will host that event.
Yeah, what a sport that is, and if you haven't had a chance to be around it, it sure is something. I mean, I'm a marathoner, which is one of the 3, which is a hard feat in and of itself, so just huge respect for those young women that get out there and coach, who's had just such a long-standing mark of success here. So it's a really exciting fall sport for us, for sure.
And a very successful fall sport as well. A couple of other sports updates before we call it a show for this week. ASU football, not the only sport that will be opening Big 12 conference play this coming week. The undefeated Sun Devil women's soccer team will also kick off its Big 12 schedule this week. Coach Graham Winkworth's team off to the best start the program has had since the year 2000 with a 7-0-1 record, will host 10th ranked BYU this coming Thursday evening at Sun Devil Soccer Stadium. BYU brings a record of 5-1-1 into the match on Thursday night. The 30th all-time season for ASU women's soccer at Arizona State is certainly turning into be a very successful one so far.
Yes, it's been fun, and hopefully for those of you who are around this week, come by and see our team 7 p.m. on Thursday. It's really a fun week as we're just really getting into conference play too. Obviously, we've seen some early success from all of our teams, but as we get into conference play, as you mentioned, now we're going head to head with a ranked team. This is really when it gets important, and it's fun to see Coach and the team so excited about the soccer team.
And Coach Graham Winkworth recently achieved a career milestone with his 250th career victory in a 3-1 win over Denver on September 7th. And Thursday night, Lisa, he'll go for win number 252. And what a way to get it in your conference opener.
Absolutely. And he's the first person to be a cheerleader for all the rest of the sports. So it's really fun to see him having so much success and his players too. So just really excited to see that. And here we go with the conference play.
And as far as volleyball is concerned, the 8th ranked Sun Devil women's volleyball team will be hosting 3 home matches this weekend at Desert Financial Arena as part of the Sun Devil Classic. Coach J.J. Van Niel's Sun Devils will host Pepperdine on Friday evening, September 19th, in a 6 p.m. start at Desert Financial. They'll take on Grand Canyon Saturday at 5 and then wrap up the event and the weekend by hosting Wisconsin-Milwaukee at DFA in a match that will begin at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Heck of a weekend of volleyball here.
Yes, absolutely. And last week before they start conference play next week, but it's already been a very hot season for them already. It was really fun to see them take down number 2 Penn State, and all of their matches have been, you know, just incredibly fun to watch. So yeah, this is another sport, if you haven't been around it, always invite you to come to DFA and see that live. Such a big following for volleyball. A lot of young girls really taking on the sport, and it's fantastic to see, but even more fantastic in person.
Arizona State is 6-2 this year, and the only 2 defeats have come to teams ranked in the nation's top 10, current number 5 Pittsburgh, and the second-ranked Texas Longhorns. And what a job Coach Van Niel has done in such a short period of time and just totally reversing the fortunes of the volleyball program.
Yeah, year 3, and again, similar to football, you know, conference champions, so certainly they're the team to beat always, and that's just a fun position for them to be in as well. It's fun that we had such an overall successful first year in the conference, but knowing there is some pressure, but also rising up to that. It's fantastic to see, and I can't wait to be at the matches. They're a lot of fun.
On that note, we drop the curtain on this week's installment of Sun Devil Extra, and thank you so much for joining us. Thanks as well to our guests on this week's show, Sun Devil head women's triathlon coach Cliff English and ASU triathlete Alex Campbell for joining us. We also want to thank our outstanding technical director and producer, Sean Crespin of the Mountain America Sun Devil Radio Network, for his help, and we appreciate him very much. Braiden Bell, by the way, will be back next week. Lisa, so great to work with you.
You as well, Tim.
Take care. And we invite you folks to join us. Hopefully we'll see some of you in Waco. If not, we'll see you at Mountain America Stadium for the TCU game coming up a week from Friday. A big one, the first home Big 12 football game of the season. Till next time, for Lisa Young, I'm Tim Healey. Thanks for joining us on Sun Devil Extra. So long, everybody.